Hi everyone, welcome to Art Time with Miss Lynn. I'm so happy and grateful you're joining me here today for some art making. So today we are working with recycling materials and we're going to use the recycling material to do some stamping. I want to show you the main material we're using, which is a tissue roll. So I'm sure you can find this in your house somewhere. Hopefully you have some. We're using a lot of circles and with this project will require some paint. So if you don't have paint, we might not be able to do this project. And if you don't have paint, it's okay too. You can work on something else. Now, I want to use also some cardboard materials. And so I have these cardboard boxes that I cut out. I don't need any more. And we're going to do a nature scene. So I cut out a tree trunk. And we're going to do sort of like a tree trunk and some grass, maybe some flowers. And first thing, I'm going to glue my tree trunk down on my paper. Add some glue onto the tree trunk. I'm going to glue this. So this is basically just kind of like a rectangle. If you are able to make more detail, more complicated um, tree trunk, you can try to cut out something like this. It helps if you draw it out on the cardboard before you cut. So if you want to make the tree trunk more elaborate with more detail, you start from the bottom, basically 2 lines going up, and then you just kind of add rectangles like that, and have some branches sticking out, maybe over here. So that's how I make this kind of shape, and then you just cut it. Or you can just do basic tree trunk, which is just a rectangle. That's fine too. Depends on your grade level and how much experience you have with cutting and shapes, understanding shapes. So as you grow older, you would notice more detail, right? You'll be able to do more detail work. So now I glue these down, and then I can do some stamping using bottle caps. If you have bottle caps, these will be fun to use to make circles. We can make a tree, right? Or if you're going to use tissue roll, I suggest you're going to cut this out. And I have arrows over here to mark it pointing the outside because we want to make sure we're kind of using this side for stamping because it's flat. Some of them I cut out. Once you cut it out, you could notice the edge is not completely flat, so it's going to be hard for stamping a complete shape. So I could cut this in half carefully with the scissor. Right? So you can see the ones that are the parts that are with the arrow is the flat part. So you can also use this for stamping. You can shape this a little bit by bending this, by bending two edges, two corners to create a leaf shape, kind of like an oval. So this would be great for printing some leaves too, stamping some leaves. Now another fun thing you can do is to cut this off, cut this out, and create flaps. But this time when you're cutting, we want to make sure you cut almost to the same height. So I'm going to carefully draw a line, making sure it's um, as what do you call this? guess the same width, keeping it the same width as possible. So then when I cut, when I open it up and bend this, it would help me stamp better. So now I cut it along this edge, and then I'm going to bend this way. We have more interesting shapes to stamp with. So this would be great for stamping flowers, right? But today we're focusing on trees. Over here. So I'm going to quickly show you, if you have paint, we are going to use some paint I put out, some green, and then just do some stamping with the bottle caps. Tap, tap, tap. And then you can, whoop, whoop, already rolling. Just stamp and make a lot of little circles. Okay, so this way it looks very puffy, my tree. So this is one way to use the bottle caps, and you probably have different size. So you can try to use smaller ones. These might be a little bit harder to use. Let's see. It might be a little harder to control though. So your hand might get dirty, which is part of the fun. Look at that. Smaller circles. That's why I have paper on the side to help me clean my hand. I'm going to try with this now. So tap, tap, tap onto the paint. Let's see if we're going to do some stamping with the leaf shape that we did. Might have to do it a few times. Make sure you press all edges. And sometimes the first first time you stamp it, your paint probably won't get on to the paper as clearly as the second or third or fourth time, because then you filled up your stamp already with paint, so it will become more visible. The more you stamp, the more paint will show up. Wow, look at that. Cool. I'm going to put this on the side carefully. I also have little straws like this that I cut out. Maybe we can use that too. I have another paint over here, a different color. I was going to do some flowers. Now this little mistake that I have, I'm going to turn it into part of my picture. You can always turn your mistake into something. Use your imagination and turn it into part of your artwork. See, like that. I can make some little flowers, maybe like that. Or you could be more careful and start with one circle and then the petals outside of that circle. And that. Looks like you can see the paint scattering more when you're using the smaller circle. Mhm. If you don't have a brush, it's you can find something else that you could use to paint. If you have a brush, you can add some more details to it. So we have a lot of recycling materials. So I'm just going to use this as a brush to help me paint. So be creative, be flexible. You can paint with your finger. You can paint with cardboard. You can even paint with the straw that we use. It's kind of like a spring picture. Add some grass. There's grass and flowers coming out these days. Beautiful weather outside. Here we go. I hope you enjoyed this quick project, and I hope you get to try it out yourself. I can't wait to see what you make. Let me know. I will see you next time.